Yo, 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 yo. We're live, live, live. All right, it's above average Friday for January at the Jersey Shore. So, January on a Friday at the Jersey Shore. It's not great, but it's not freezing either. So, that's good. And just a few moments, give a few more people time to come into the chat. And I'm going to briefly, on this one, keep this kind of brief, going to talk a little bit about both the Eagles 49ers wild card game, and I'm going to talk a little about the 76ers over the past week or so with Embiid consistently being in the lineup. Because that's what I've noticed. Just going to give it another minute, give a few more people time to come on before I actually get started with this. If anything, just testing the audio out at this point, more than anything. I'm not going to go upstairs in a minute, push it out. So give it another minute or so. All right. Just give me 1 minute. Right, back to it. So, yes. All right. We're starting to get some people coming in. So, coming through. That's right. We got Sunday. We got the wild card round matchup between the Philadelphia Eagles and the San Francisco 49ers. Rematch from the 2022-23 conference championship game. I know technically a rematch from 2 seasons ago when the 49ers basically broke the Eagles and it started the Eagles' collapse, but I'm considering this one more along the lines of, I'm considering this more a rematch because it's a playoff game, so I'm counting this as the conference championship rematch. We know in that game, Brock Purdy went down with injury early, and whatever chance the Niners had disappeared in that one. Eagles wound up with an easy win. Niners fans are always going to use that as an excuse for why they didn't make it to Super Bowl 57. But either way, I mean, to be fair, you made it to Super Bowl 58. You fell short. We won Super Bowl 59. So at the end of the day, we beat Kansas City in the Super Bowl. San Fran didn't. So that's the difference right there. But hey, we've had our fun. We have our 2 Super Bowls, but the quest for the 3rd Lombardi officially starts Sunday against the 49ers at the Link. And I got to say, man, 49, we know the 49ers are familiar foes. I remember last time when the Niners beat us in that regular season game in the 2023 season, their fans had a field day when they left the arena that day. They were ecstatic when they left the arena. And they were happy about their team's performance. And unfortunately for us, as Eagles fans, that kind of broke our 2023 season. I think that loss broke the locker room's confidence and we free fell from there. But that was then. Last season, we went on to win the Super Bowl, so that didn't matter. But this time around, Niners are back at the Link. With Christian McCaffrey fully healthy, Niners had a rebound season, making it to the playoffs as the number 6 seed. But we do got to say this. There are some vulnerabilities in the Niners going into this one that I think the Eagles can potentially exploit and still could potentially win this game. There's 2 things the Eagles got to be able to do. Number 1, shut down Christian McCaffrey. And while McCaffrey is the lead player of that offense, make no mistake. With all due respect to George Kittle, it's Christian McCaffrey. He's the guy who leads the team in rushing yards and receiving yards as well. So there's that. And remember, when they made the Super Bowl 2 seasons ago, made it to Super Bowl 58, McCaffrey was the lead player of that offense, make no mistake. You saw last season for the Niners without him, they were a complete different story. They have 6 wins. So we got to be able to shut down Christian McCaffrey, which is doable. See what the Seahawks did last week in that game for home field advantage. They shut McCaffrey down, and they limited the Niners' offensive efficiency and even got a pick on Brock Purdy. So take notes from the Seattle Seahawks defense, Eagles, Vic Fangio, and how it's done. There it is doable to shut down the San Francisco 49ers and keep them in check. First thing, though, I think Cool Cat Connor said it best on the Cool Cat Mitch podcast. Hello, good afternoon, James, or good morning, whatever it's at. But yeah, so that's key number one, shut down Christian McCaffrey. And credit to Cool Cat Connor, we got two guys that can do it. Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter. You let Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter lead that defensive line. They're the guys that can shut down McCaffrey. And that can prevent him from breaking the game open. Because the one thing I've noticed in the run CMC era of the 49ers is when McCaffrey's on, the Niners have a shot. But when he's not on or he's inactive, the Niners are vulnerable. See, last week, Week 18, the Saturday game between the Niners and Seahawks. Also see last season when McCaffrey missed the majority of the season due to tendon injuries in his knees. The Niners were not the same team without Christian McCaffrey. So that's why I say he's the main weapon. That's why the key, stop McCaffrey. We saw when he was on 2 years ago in that regular season matchup where the Niners blew us out. Christian McCaffrey was on and the Niners had a field day with the Eagles. So he is the main guy in that offense, and that's why that's really the number one key for the Eagles. Shut down Christian McCaffrey, stop him from getting going. Because notice with this season, kind of early on, the Niners were kind of, Remember when McCaffrey came, he was kind of rusty at the beginning of the season from nearly missing a whole year. Then around midseason, he started to get going and get back to his elite form, and that's when the Niners started to rattle off wins. So whichever way you look at, the X factor for the Niners is Christian McCaffrey in the offense. So if we can limit him, that makes it easier. And I do feel this defense has the ability to shut down McCaffrey with all this talent there. This Vic Fangio-led defense has been phenomenal all season, especially stepping up when the offense has been dreadful under Kevin Patullo's vision with him calling plays. Eagles defense has been phenomenal all season long. They've been absolutely lights out. We saw against Buffalo, they held a good offense to only 12 points all game. They held them and kept them in check all game long. We saw against teams we saw against the Raiders. Now, I know it's just the Raiders, but we shut them out. And if you want to talk, we saw the first go against the Commanders when we played our starters. They were inefficient. I'm not counting the Week 18 game where we didn't play any of our guys. That really didn't count. I'm counting the defense's work throughout the season. We even see the second half against the Rams in Week 3 when Jordan Davis got going. He was absolutely phenomenal. He was absolutely phenomenal in that game. And then he ended up getting a few block kicks and that block return. And we've seen this Eagles defense ball out all season. I'm confident in them. But also at the same time, they haven't been the best team against the run, though. And that's the one area that draws some concern for me. Is against the run, they have not been that great. So I got to say, but can we shut down McCaffrey? I do believe it's there. But it mainly relies on both Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter taking care of business on that front for this Eagles offense. That's the main key right there. The second key is this offense has to get going in some way, shape, or form. I know Kevin Patullo, as the offensive play caller, it's been dreadful for the Eagles all season. I'm not the most confident person in the world. However, despite that, there's still that fan in me that hopes that, okay, maybe the offense can at least, if the defense does its job, if the offense can at least get going a little bit, maybe get a few long drives out of them, maybe get a touchdown and some field goals with long drives, just get some points on the board. I'm not necessarily expecting this offense to drop 30 or 40 points against the Niners. No. However, to be fair, we are going against the Niners team that has some injuries on the defensive side of the ball. Fred Warner's out. I believe Nick Bosa is going to be out as well. He's still out. So that gives us an advantage there against the Niners defense less than 100%. So we have a potential opportunity to do something there. We have the opportunity potentially to score, to score against this team, exploit their vulnerabilities, particularly their weakest points are linebacker and defensive line. Maybe if you run with Saquon under center, not in shotgun, under center, maybe we get something going, because I've noticed the trend throughout the season. When Saquon Barkley runs under center, he's at his most efficient. When they try to force feed the ball to Saquon in shotgun formation, it doesn't work. And that's been part of the problem with Saquon's statistical decline this season. You can say it's Madden curse, it's this or that, it's the White House photo, whatever, but the true thing at the end of the day is they've been using him wrong offensively, trying to line him up in shotgun and handle the ball that way when he runs best under center. So the Eagles, if they can at least do that, we at least got something going. As long as Jalen Hurts doesn't play as dreadful as he did against the Chargers, okay, we at least have something going. We could potentially maybe score 20, 23 points. That could be enough to win this game if the defense does its usual thing. So there is at least some potential in this one, at least. As long as we stop with the stupid... Give me one second. Sorry about... As long as we stop with the stupid play calling and just the atrocious... the predictable play calling, such as first down, run, second down, run, third down, pass, or first down, pass, second down, run, third down, pass, the same predictable play calling that the Philadelphia Eagles offense has been doing all season. If we can at least get away from that and get away from the ugly play calling, hey, at least we have a shot. So those are the two main keys to victory in this one are, at least Kevin Patul can just call a C+ or B- level game in terms of play calling. That could help us out. And if the defense can shut down Christian McCaffrey being the main key, those are the two biggest keys the Eagles have to potentially winning this game and moving on to the divisional round to play, depending on how it plays out. If the Eagles win that game, and if the Bears do beat the Packers as predicted, then it would set up Eagles and Bears in the divisional round, because then the lower seed would automatically go and play the Seahawks. But that remains to be determined as well. But there's that right there. However, if the Eagles do their predictable, usual play calling where their offense is decent for one half, but they do nothing in the opposite half, then I don't see the Eagles winning this game. I don't. Especially if that comes in the second half where the Eagles are going 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out in the second half. Eventually, what's going to happen is that defense is going to get tired and fatigued. See the rematch against the Cowboys at AT&T Stadium back in November, the game before Thanksgiving, when we gave up the 21-0 lead. Part of that was because the offense just completely fell apart in the second half. They kept turning the ball over. The Eagles' defense did its best they could to carry the team in that game, but they couldn't do anything in the second half. But they couldn't do anything, and the defense got burnt out eventually because the offense was going 3 and out, fumbling. The defense spent so much time on the field that they got burnt out, and the Cowboys took advantage of them. Like, the worst thing that could happen here against the Niners, though, in this game coming up would be that especially if the offense can't move at all in the second half, if they're going three and out, three and out, three and out, eventually that's going to catch up to the defense. If they got to play about 75% or more of the snaps in the second half, they're just going to be tired, and eventually the Niners offense is going to take advantage of them. And they could probably score a late go-ahead touchdown. And it almost happened in Buffalo a few weeks ago. Almost. But we got saved by a failed two-point conversion by the Bills that had they just kicked the extra point and gone for the tie and gone to overtime, they could have won that game against us in overtime. We got lucky they went for it and failed and kind of skipped away with a victory against Buffalo, which was the last real game the Eagles played, because I'm not even going to count that Week 18 game because we didn't play our starters. But hold off 1 second. I'm going to mute the mic. I'll be right back in just 1 second. I'm back, folks. So that was just a quick, had to step aside for a minute. So I got a poll up asking who you got winning between the Eagles and 49ers. Make sure to vote on that poll. So it's up there. And yeah, so really I got this game. I think it all really comes down to the offense. Can the offense rise above its norm for the season and actually play a decent game? That's going to be the real X factor to me on whether the Eagles win or lose this game. It's going to come down to whether the offense can exceed its norm for the season. If the Eagles' offense exceeds the norm for the season of one decent half and a terrible second half, then maybe they have a shot at winning this game. But if they do their standard thing of, I have one decent half, the other half they don't really do anything, chances are they probably lose in this game. So I just look at it as that, like, hey, look, man, ultimately it comes down to the Philadelphia Eagles, whether they do or don't rise above themselves. And that'll be the deciding outcome. So I could either see this going one of two ways. Either along the lines of 24-20 for the Eagles, or possibly 23-13 for the Niners, something along those lines, depending on how this goes. What Eagles offense are we going to get? Are we going to get the one? Or here's what actually would be helpful. This seemed a little crazy at first, like, wait, what? But hear me out. If the Eagles call the same type of game plan they did against the Chargers, but QB-wise, Jalen Hurts plays better than he did against the Chargers, then I could potentially see the Eagles winning this game. So we're going to see how that goes right there. But I'm just going to say this. Fly, Eagles, fly. Let's get this victory. Take care of business. And let's come out with a dub. Move on to the divisional round and take care of business against the San Francisco 49ers. Let's not give them any bragging room. And let's get this thing done, baby. That's all I got to say right there. And so I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to happen. And yeah, we just got to wait and see. Come back, talk about it either Monday or Tuesday. So until then, that's all I got to say about the Eagles. Time for talking's over. It's time for them to play the game Sunday. And real quick, before I do go, I want to talk a little bit about the Philadelphia 76ers. Particularly, I do want to talk about the 76ers under Joel Embiid. I want to talk about them and because lately Embiid's been actually playing more, and actually it's been a different game for them. Because I'm going to pull up Embiid's stats and go through like the recent games, because he's been playing more lately. It seems like Embiid's finally starting to get some more playing time, and he's actually playing a key role in them over when playing in the past week. He played on Wednesday in the most recent game against the Wizards. He got 28 points, 7 rebounds in that game in the 131-110 win. And he would play Monday night against the Nuggets in that 125-124 OT loss where he fell short. He had 32 points. He had 10 rebounds, and so he did help keep us in that game against the Nuggets. The win against the Knicks on the 3rd, he had 26. He was 8 for 12 free throws. He had 10 boards against the Mavericks on New Year's Day in that win. He had 22 points. Against the Grizzlies, the last game of 2025, he had 34 and helped play a role in us with that overtime victory. So Embiid, when he does play, has been a contributing factor. And he shows that when healthy, he can still contribute. And we won majority of those games with Embiid playing. In the last 5 games, we're 4-1 with him in the lineup. So that goes to show you that Embiid, if he can stay healthy, he can add that extra spark alongside Maxey and Edgecombe. But now, with Embiid actually being back, you're just hoping as a fan, I am at least, that he stays healthy, and that as a result, this actually leads to the Sixers winning more games. And secondly, you want Embiid to stay healthy because you want Embiid, Maxey, and Edgecombe to get used to playing with each other. Early in the season, it was just Maxey and Edgecombe leading the way. Luke, hello, how you doing? What's up? What's up? And because early on it was just Maxey and Edgecombe. Embiid was barely playing. You were getting used to those two guys. Now with Embiid back in the lineup and him actually being available for more games, now he's getting used to playing with Maxey and Edgecombe, more particularly Edgecombe and Maxey, who have already started to develop a chemistry, are now playing with Embiid. So you're hoping that Embiid stays healthy. Just those three can get their chemistry going and keep building upon this momentum. Now, granted, I understand most of those wins have come against subpar or bad teams. I get that, but you also got to remember, we did beat the Knicks at Madison Square Garden. We did come up close against the Denver Nuggets, who are still playing good without Nikola Jokic. They even won Wednesday against Boston in Boston. So it may sound embarrassing that you would lose to them without Jokic, but Denver Nuggets are still a good team without Jokic. The point is the Sixers have been playing good over this past week and a half to 2 weeks with Embiid playing alongside Maxey and Edgecombe. So now that he's back in the lineup, I'm hoping he stays healthy and his availability, he's still available. So that way, Embiid, Maxey, and Edgecombe can get used to playing together and they can actually develop a chemistry, start winning more games, which could help them as we get closer to playoff time. So I'll say this about Embiid. We mostly over the past year were saying it's time to move on because he was unavailable. We felt like it run its course. And remember, we dealt with Embiid injuries his whole career. He was drafted in 2014. He missed his 2014, 2015, and 2015, 2016 seasons due to injury. 2016, 2017 was basically his rookie season because that was the first season he played. So that's how far the Sixers fell off without Embiid. So we've seen that. They had 2 seasons he missed. He missed the majority of last season. He missed a portion of the 23-24 season. He came back for the playoffs and then rushed to play in the Olympics. So Embiid's had a long injury history. That's why we worried about, okay, can he stay healthy? That's why some of us were saying maybe it's time to move on because we saw we have something in Maxey. We know with Embiid being older and his injury history that it could be any injury now before he's done for good. And we're kind of like, let's just move forward while we have the opportunity, build around Maxey and Edgecombe. And I still think in the long term it would be Maxey. You got more with Maxey and Edgecombe. They're the younger players. Embiid's getting older. While he is a former MVP, he has been dealing with his injuries throughout his career and even recently. So I'm still not really too sure about Embiid being the long-term guy. I think eventually you got to move more toward just building around Maxey and Edgecombe. But I will say this, for now, if Embiid can stay healthy, there is potential with that Embiid, Maxey, and Edgecombe trio. So if Embiid's going to, now that he's still in the roster, he's back in the lineup, I still got to hope that he plays. Because in that stretch, too, Maxey has continued playing excellent well. He had 34 against the Grizzlies, 34 against the Mavs New Year's Day, 36 against in the Garden, 28 in that Nuggets game, 22 in the Wizards game. So Embiid and Maxey have both been playing excellent on offense, too. And we even saw that Madison Square Garden game. Edgecombe put up a good effort, too, alongside Embiid and Maxey. He had 26 as well. I mean, that trio was just on fire last Saturday at the Garden. And he did have 23 against the Mavs and 25 against the Grizzlies. Okay, last 2 games, he's had under 20 points, 17 against Denver and 13 against the Wizards. But that's only 2 games. I'm still along the lines of let's just see what he can do. Now, if Edgecombe goes a week where he starts to get a little cold, then I'll be a little bit more concerned about him as a play. Or I'll maybe say, okay, maybe the offense just operating different. But that's a discussion for later. But so far, with Embiid being back, my main thing is, look, I hope as long as he stays healthy, this team can develop a chemistry and actually get something going with that trio. So, really, that's all I'm going to say for now. This was kind of just a quick, about half-hour stream. Wanted to come on here, briefly talk about the Eagles and Sixers. We got the Magic today in Orlando at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hopefully, we should take care of business and win that game as well. And then we got 2 games against the Raptors Sunday at 6, Monday at 7:30. So let's go Sixers. Let's take care of business there. Fly, Eagles, fly. Most of all, have a great rest of your day, guys. Until next time, it's your boy Nicky Steve signing off. Catch y'all later.